In 11.1, we're looking at the areas of parallelograms. You'll learn how to find the perimeters and area of parallelograms and determine whether points on a coordinate plane define a parallelogram. Recall that a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. Any side of a parallelogram can be called a base. For each base, there is a corresponding altitude that is perpendicular to the base. So here they're showing altitudes at PR or PQ, they'd be the same length. In parallelogram MNRP, if MN is the base, RN and PQ are altitudes. The length of the altitude is called the height of the parallelogram. If MR is the base, then the altitudes are PT and NS. If a parallelogram has an area A square units, a base of B units, and a height of H units, then area of the parallelogram is base times height. To find the perimeter, we know that opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent, so the base is 32, the bottom is 32, the top is 2, and 24 and 24. So perimeter is just going to be 2 times 24 plus 2 times 32. So 48 plus 64 is 112. In inches. They're helping us review our reference triangles here to find our height. So let's write down a reference triangle. Our sides go 1, 2, and square root of 3. Yeah, let's put an N with those. Okay, so they gave us the hypotenuse. That was nice. So if 2n equals 24, if we divide both sides by 2, we know n equals 12. And so if n is 12, we want to find the altitude is our square root of 3 side. So that's going to be our height is 12 square root of 3. And then we said area of a parallelogram is base times height. So our area is going to be, the base we had was 32 times the height we found was 12 square root of 3. So if we multiply 32 times 12 is 384 square root of 3, or if we wanted a decimal, that'd be about 665.1 square inches. The Canes are planning to sod some parts of the yard. Find the number of square yards of grass needed. So we can start with the area before they cut anything out. Length times width would be 30,000 square feet. Then we're going to have to find the area of the pieces they need to cut out. So the vegetable garden would be 2,000 square feet. The garage is another 3,000. And then the house and walkways is 6,000. So 30,000 minus 2,000 would be 28, minus 3 is 25, minus 6 is 19,000, and we were talking about square feet. Oh, but wait, they wanted it in square yards. So there are 3 feet in 1 yard. That got rid of one of them. I have to do it again to get rid of square feet and change it to square yards. And type it in the calculator. We get approximately 2,111.1 square yards. Now in the real world, we probably wouldn't round to the nearest tenth of a yard. We'd probably round up to the nearest 10 yards, square yards, or maybe 5, I don't know, but we wouldn't be that precise. The vertices of quadrilateral are given and plotted. Determine whether the quadrilateral is a square, rectangle, or just a plain old parallelogram. Well, it sure appears to be a rectangle, but we need to double check with our slopes. Slope is change in y over change in x. So for CD, we've got negative 2 minus 0 over 3 minus negative 3, which would be negative 2 over 6 is negative 1/3 when we reduce. And BC, we've got negative 1 minus negative 2, so that's going to be 3 over 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so those two appear to be perpendicular. Slopes are opposite reciprocals. Do one more. 3 minus 0 is 3. Negative 2 minus negative 3 is 1. Okay, so then AD is parallel. And 1 minus 3 be negative 2 over 6 would also be negative 3. So we have opposite sides parallel, consecutive sides perpendicular. Now, if only we can get the opposite sides to be congruent, we could get a rectangle. So using the distance formula, we've got the difference in the x's squared. So negative 2 squared is going to be 4, plus the difference in the y squared. So 4 minus negative 2 would be 6 squared is 36. Looks like the square root of 40. And difference in the x's is going to be negative 3 squared is going to be 9. And 3 squared is 9, 1 squared is 1, so we have square root of 10. Well, the sides are not all the same, so it can't be a square. Opposite sides are already parallel, consecutive sides are perpendicular, so it must be a rectangle. Okay, an area of a rectangle is length times width, so we have our length and width. And square root of 40 times square root of 10 would be square root of 400, aka 20. And they didn't give us units, so it's, I guess, units squared. So the big idea was the area of a parallelogram is the product of the base and the height.